so many things happen to our life on a daily basis, and we blame to makhluk, like although the will of Allah is there, like instead of reflecting our action, so why this has happened to me, and we blame, we give excuses, it's totally controlled by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Definitely there has to be a sabab, which leads to this any action, whether it's like getting, or somebody abused me, or somebody called my name, So I'm just assumed, because instead of reflecting my own action, what I did wrong, I just blame you. So I don't have to rectify it. Plus, during Qadr, we have to take precaution before it happened. Once it's happened, then we can say Qadr of Allah.
Oh.
But we have to take all precaution from whether it comes to dunya or akhirah before things happen, right?
No.
Is this the right understanding of?
Definitely. And that's why the first point is anything that happens, as mentioned before, you have to have two nazar, or two ways of seeing things in anything that happens. One, look into the fi'lullah, to the action of Allah. Anything that happens in this life, killing, whether it's good or bad, whatever, you have to have two looks to it. The first one, with your heart, you witness the actions of Allah. That nothing happens without the permission of Allah. So it's happening as far as the action of Allah, from a great wisdom from Allah, by the mercy of Allah, by the knowledge of Allah, by the justice of Allah. It's there for a reason, and the reason of it is from the actions of Allah is a good one, at least for the believers. And it's also a good one, for example, if it's something bad from the actions of the disbelievers, as an example, then it's good for the believers if they hold fast to their religion, for expiation of their sins, or for them to make dua to Allah, all kinds of good things that happens to the believers. The believers are always, their affairs are good. So this shows the action of Allah is beautiful to the believers. For the disbelievers, it's also good. Why? Because maybe some might repent to Allah if they're still alive, and for the justice of Allah to be very clear, that they would see themselves that they deserve to be punished if they continue and die in that state. It's not that they're taken with one crime and that's it. No, they deserve to be in hellfire because of their evil actions. So the actions of Allah are always beautiful. تشهد فعل الله الجميل, nothing less than the most beautiful thing. So this is one nazar, this is one way of seeing things. And at the same time, you look at the actions of the human beings. And that's why each person is responsible for the actions. So if someone did evil and says that's the beautiful action of Allah, right? This is then those of authority, they should take him and apply the punishment on him, and they say that's also the beautiful action of Allah. So every person is responsible for their action. That's the second one when it comes to the ahkam, and that's why the Quran talks about the evil actions of the disbelievers, the good actions of the believers, and did not say that this is the qadr of Allah in the sense that it's okay for them to do evil, and that the ones that do good is that they're just forced to do it. No. And that's how the people with reason and intellect would understand things, and no one with the slightest amount of intellect and reason, he would rely upon the qadr of Allah and act foolishly. So that's why in كل شيء خلقناه بقدر, it doesn't mean to take the means away. And that's the second point of, we don't know the qadr of Allah. It's the secret of Allah. We don't know till it becomes, we see it. So before we see it, we are commanded to take the means, and we prepare ourselves at all times to be always pleased with Allah. Not that we're taking the means and this is how it has to happen because I'm taking the means. You're taking the means, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created for you, and even this is in it, there's religion. You're taking the halal means, you're staying away from haram and so on. And then whatever happens, you already prepared yourself from before that you will be pleased. Pleased with the action of Allah. Not pleased with yourself, sure. Repent to Allah, fix things, take means, what happened, learn from your experience, all of that is fine. But as far as the action of Allah, the qadr of Allah, you're pleased with it, and then to learn how to act according to it. No. So then, as Sheikh Ibrahim Zidan, rahimahullah, we mentioned the statement before, he said, Al-Qadr yaktanifuhu, the qadr of Allah yaktanifuhu. Al-iktinaf is when someone is walking and two people are right next to him. This is فَاكْتَنَفْتُهُ أَنَا وَصَاحِبِي, the hadith of Jibreel, when the two tabi'is, they went to Abdullah ibn Umar to ask him about the qadr. They were asking about the qadr. So Abdullah ibn Umar was coming in the masjid, so he said فَاكْتَنَفْتُهُ أنا وصاحبي, me and my companions, we walked right next, one on the right, one on the left, like this. And then he asked the question. So he says Al-Qadr should have two things right before it, one before it and one after. The one before it, الأخذ بالأسباب مع التوكل على الله. عبادة, you take in the means while relying upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fully. That's right before the Qadr happens. And then right after the Qadr happens is Ar-Rida, to be pleased with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is how a person would perfectly deal with matters of the Qadr.
Like before it's secret before it happens.
Yes.
But once it's manifest,
It's
you
not
have to
secret.
have rada,
Yes.
pleased with Allah. At the same time, you should not accuse and blame, because that's open the door of shaitan, right?
Right. That's the
Then
law.
fighting will start.
That's the law. If I did, it would have been, and that opens the way of shaitan, make a person have bad thinking about Allah and things like this.